Hello everyone, I'm Yorgos.
I'm Kat.
And this is Realistic DIYers.
So we're back. Recently we have done the review of the Circularsaw, which you will find the link in the description. Now we're going to show you how to use it with homemade jigs instead of spending more and more and more money. We're all about doing it on low budget in your own home.
And without using a lot of space. If you don't have a shed, if you don't have a garage, then you know very well that you have minimum space to use your tools. Let's get cracking. Right, so starting off, so there's a few jigs that you can buy online that they have all the properties that you need in order to do accurate cuts. If you want to make a new bookshelf, let's say, you can make the bookshelf freehand using this circular saw, but it won't be accurate, it won't be straight. So you need something to keep it straight. One way to do it is by just using a guide. Let's say this is your guide, you clamp it in somewhere, and then you start cutting against this fence here, which will give you an accurate straight cut. The problem with this is that every single time you need to measure the distance between the blade and the fence, so this is not very convenient. So instead of this, you can buy one of the Greg jigs, which is a great tool. I've seen it, but I haven't never used it. The thing with this is that you need to spend a few money on it. Instead, you can make your own. So this is the equivalent of this Greg jig. Don't get us wrong, it's a great, Greg makes great jigs, but the problem is that you need to pay for them. Although for these, you just need to pay for plywood that you can get from your local store. So it's very simple. It has been measured so that you can just put it on wherever you need to cut, and you use this fence here. You use your saw against this fence here to make a very accurate cut. This is of course a straight edge, it's absolute, and it's very, very convenient and very good. The problem is, as you saw in our review on our previous video, is that the motor here doesn't give you a lot of space to work on. And this is a 12 millimeters plywood, while the plate to the motor is just 5 to 6 millimeters. Which means that if you want to cut very deep, you will not be able to. Another negative thing about this jig is that the cut capacity of this blade is 43 millimeters. 53 millimeters. 48 millimeters. 48 millimeters, thank you, Kat. 48 millimeters, which means that you will not have all the capacity that you can use. Oh, another negative thing, is that because the motor is quite thick as well, if you need to clamp your jig at the beginning and at the end so that you can be more accurate, you won't be able to, because it won't let the motor move freely. So instead of using this, which is not so good, we're going to go outside and Kat is going to make a new one, which is going to be much better than what I made a few months ago. Shall we go?
Come on. So to mark out our 6mm plywood, 1/4 inch, we first need to measure the blade plus the motor and 5 centimeters extra just for a bit of clearance. So we're marking it down to join together for a straight line, just for our guide, to guide along the cut, making sure we don't cut through the table, and clamp it to be secure so your material doesn't move. Safety first. And then choosing the right depth. So the depth of the material, which for us is 6 millimeters, plus we advise some clearance of 2 to 3 millimeters. And off we go, controlling the safety guard as the cut begins. Be prepared to support the material that is being cut off so it doesn't drop, especially on your toes. Keeping the work area clean, removing any debris. So here we're going to bank on the fact that the factory cut edge will be the straight edge. So the one you just cut stays on the outside. So don't worry if it's not absolutely straight, as it's just the edge of the jig. The straight edge guide side is the factory cut side. Make a quick line so you know which area to fill with glue and make sure it's the correct area. Squeeze it all out. Now working inside might be easier than working outside in the winter. The glue's a little bit cold. check the footwear. Check it. So good coating of glue, spreading it out. We're just using a small paper.
We have the sticker there. We need to take the sticker out.
It's gonna dry. So once your local shop's barcode has been removed, align your pieces and press together. Secure nicely with our good old clamps. We have different sizes, and make sure you're not gluing it against the table. Nice and straight. And that will stay overnight. Coming back the next day, the glue is fixed. Now, most importantly, we need to cut the straight edge. So you are going to cut with your guide right along, press securely against that factory straight edge cut. We are now finishing this jig off to have an absolute straight guide. So press that circular saw against the factory straight edge. Guide it all the way along, and now you've got an absolute straight line, securing the material as it cuts off. Something to note here is why we measured the motor plus another 5 centimeters is to give that extra clearance so you can fit the clamps. So there is space to clamp and keep your material secure. We're just going to run the circular saw now to clean up and neaten an edge of some MDF.
So here it is.
So here we are. So finding out challenges along the way that hopefully we're going to save you time with, so you don't have the same challenge. So now you can see the difference. We've just got space here, if I lift it up, for the motor.
Here you go. For the motor to go all the way down, so it shouldn't cause any problems, and you have more depth capacity now to your blade.
Now, one mistake that maybe we didn't calculate quite right is if you could just hold that so I can use my hand. No, just keep it there.
Yeah.
How it was.
Yep. Yes. Yeah.
Is actually, we measured from the blade to a little bit past the motor to build the jig, and then we realised once it's built we actually only needed to measure really just to the motor, from the guide to the motor. So we've used too much product. When you're trying to do it on a low budget, we could have saved pennies, but it makes it stable and versatile, but it's not ideal to have spare material working in a tight space.
I like it better though, because it can be more stable. You know, you put your clamps here, and then you never lose the parallelity. Right, moving on. Congratulations, Kat. So, the second thing we want to show you today is that sometimes this is like 1.4 meters. So, but sometimes your surface might be longer than this. It can be 2 meters, 3 meters. So instead of having this guide, you can make a different jig. Another thing that they have is called the RipCut.
There we go.
So instead of buying the RipCut, you can make your own. So this one is one I made a couple of months ago. It's still under development, so I need to cut it a little bit. It's too chunky here, but anyhow, for demonstration purposes, this is perfect at the moment. This is the guide that keeps the cut parallel to what you're cutting. It's parallel to the circular saw blade, right? Of course, I cannot move it, so it's super accurate. It won't go anywhere. So let's say I want to cut 10 centimeters, or 100 millimeters, or whatever I want to cut, right? So I use this as a guide, and of course, the guide underneath is keeping it parallel. So I will start cutting, and I can go along and keep cutting for as long as I need to.
See you at the other end.
Right. So this is a great way to save on money and to save on time as well, and without breaking the bank.
I like that saying. You can say it as many times as you like in our videos. So of course you can see that all these jigs are handmade at home. Now we do have links for those. They're not ourselves that are building it, as we didn't video the first builds. This was a bit of an experiment to see if we could overcome our challenges with them, and they have been successful. So it's a really great place and a great start. So find the link below to all the jigs that you're going to see today, but don't be surprised if it's other faces.
Yeah.
So in every workshop, there is one thing I think you will find. A Mitre saw.
Yeah.
An expensive, rather large Mitre saw. Electric Mitre saw. Mitre. I have to say it, Mitre. He's Greek. That's the way we do our R's. Yorgos. Mitre saw. There is, if you don't have your workshop, that's the whole idea of our reviews. We don't have a workshop, we don't have a lot of machines. We're going to do everything with what we've got. You can buy again, hand Mitre saws. They're still a pretty penny, but we found something, haven't we?
Yeah. There's also an alternative.
You won't believe it.
A Mitre box.
5 quid, 10 quid, and this is what you get. It's absolutely superb. Even I can demonstrate it. So, if you wouldn't mind, you've got all your angles that you basically need. So you've got straight crosscut against the grain. You've got 45. Just go all the way through. You've got in between, I don't know, 22.5, and who'd believe it? You've got a bevel cut, straight down, 45 degrees.
Pretty much.
Lightweight, easy to store, cheap on the wallet.
On the wallet.
Yeah.
Just remember to combine it with a tenon saw, because it's the most accurate you can get. This is not a good one, but it was what we bought like a year ago. But
Well, we bought it to give it a try because we thought,
Yeah.
nah. We did.
Yeah.
Lovely, fantastic.
Right.
A little bit more.
And yeah, if you want to build a shed,
We've got magical corners. Not from a rabbit's hat, but from...
instead of if you need to build a shed, you don't need to break the bank again. You can just use a speed square, find where your cut is pretty much. Let's say I want to cut something here, right? So I take my square, I leave it aside, I find the line with my Circularsaw, and then you just guide it through with your speed square. You just need to hold it firmly, and then you do the cut, and you're good to go.
So, with having a circular saw that we've reviewed and we've showed you how to use as well in the links below, if you have one of these already, we're going to show you a homemade jig that can give you the results of a Mitre electrical saw. Here's one we made earlier.
or the Crosscut station.
Yes, so we have made our own Crosscut station. I'll just pop that on the side.
Yep.
So you'll see as I hold it up, we've got our own measurement attached here. So if you want to take 5 centimetres off, find 5 centimetres off, and we've shown you in the video, link below, how to hold it at 5 centimetres.
5 centimetres.
Yep.
Yeah.
You'll notice the groove ready for the blade, and this is perfectly aligned to hold your circular saw. It goes all the way through. You'll see that in motion in our demonstration video. This isn't actually finished, it's an ongoing project, because you'll notice what is missing is the angles. So straight away you'll notice by eye that that's a 45-degree angle. So you can pop the wood against it.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually we can cut grooves into the base of the crosscut station and have fixed angles. So you can move it. Then we could eventually move it.
Yeah, if you need a different angle,
Yeah.
for demonstration.
So we're still using. So without buying a desktop machine for your worktop, you do still have the stability and strength of a homemade jig.
Yeah.
For how much?
I don't know. It was just a sheet of plywood, so it was like less than 15 pounds
15,
euros.
20, 25 pounds.
No?
And the project to make it as well could be less.
Yeah.
Saving your pennies
Pretty
all the
much,
way.
yeah,
So
because-
once you've had that for all your household projects, you don't then need to go on to further machines. There's always other options. 5 quid options, 20 quid options. That's the way we do it.
Also, you can make bigger ones, smaller ones, depending on your situation, what you want to work with. So we built this just to do frames.
And particularly we had
So-
frames in mind.
Yeah, we haven't done any yet, but
Coming.
we shall.
Coming soon.
Coming up, you will have a video soon on how we do it and how we will be doing it. So stay tuned.
Always remember to like, subscribe and bell all. Hopefully these are insights that really can help you.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much and see you at the next one.
So we're going to do 5, 5, 5. I won't be able to do this in gloves, but let me try again. I can do it, but they get stuck. Oh, it's covered in muck. Sorry about that.
dog is crazy. Let's see without gloves,
You only need to do
Fuck, yeah.
1, 2, 3 and cut the video.
I keep one hand. Okay.
Next.
Finished.